Welcome to the Parenting Power Podcast, supporting parents with the real-life tools they need to raise the confident, interdependent people the world needs. Gail Bell and Julie Friedman-Smith interview experts who share their knowledge to assist parents in creating a home environment where kids can thrive.
Welcome to the Parenting Power Podcast. This is Julie Friedman-Smith.
And I'm Gail Bell.
I'll begin by telling you about our guest today. Jane Crowshaw is the director and a high-performance coach at the Essence Group. Jane brings over 35 years of experience supporting individual potential as well as building and sustaining high-performance teams. Transitioning from her professional tennis career, where she was a two-time NCAA All-American and Canadian singles national champion, supported her natural positioning as a leadership and high-performance coach. The cornerstone of her credibility has been her track record in assisting individuals and teams in navigating and achieving desired results by integrating self-leadership and solid mindset principles with performance. Jane's current client base consists of sport high-performance individuals and teams. She also does coaching for corporations and is an inspiring and energetic keynote speaker.
Essence Sports Performance is dedicated to empowering individuals and teams, as well as supporting healthy cultures within organization environments. Jane, what is it that you share with kids in your coaching to know that they can be empowered?
Well, the approach that I take, which I believe is unique to sport performance groups, is I really start with the athlete, the person, first and foremost. I take the athlete on a journey of the ever elusive who am I, and I do that in fundamental, basic ways that they can start that journey of understanding more about who they are as a person. As we know in sport, so much of what we determine success to be is winning, great performances, all that kind of thing. And I sort of dial it back to that beginning place of who are you as a young person.
Oh, I like that. I really like that versus, I'm a tennis player, I'm a hockey player. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that they're way more than that. And so I break it down into language such as self-leadership. I talk to them about what it means to trust themselves. And these are all areas of personal awareness that, I guess I would even say in today's day and age we're not focused on those pieces as much as maybe we could. As well, we explore mindset, the further that we get into the program. And, the program is what I designed called Hero Performance. And I like that. I love the play on the word hero because I encourage all athletes to begin to identify what is this hero within.
It sounds like you're really focusing not just on that one moment of being an athlete, but on the whole person and having them have a better understanding of who they really are long term.
Absolutely. And when I hear that lead in, I also really am reminded of just that value piece. Over the years, just a little aside, I created a character that comes to some of my talks, and this character's name is spelled ENUFF, and the character is enough. And the fun part about this character, and I also refer to enough as a hero, and just this whole premise of we're enough. All of us are enough. We've always been enough. And we will be enough until we are no longer here. And, one fun place that I like to play with, even with young people, and it's wonderful to see the lights go on in their eyes, is, I can be starting a group or working with a group and simply say, I can guarantee you one thing, 100%. And then I also field the group for, are there any objectors? Are there any people who really like to object? Because if you do, here's your chance. Get ready. And so then I lead off with, I can guarantee you 100% that you will be spending the rest of your life with you. And so what better person to get to know? What better person to spend time understanding? Just that whole appreciation for who we are, and the sooner that we can set young people up to explore that part of themselves is, I think, a wonderful gift. Because especially for young athletes, so much of their value is based on, did I do well today? Did I win? Did I lose? And I speak to that from personal experience as well. And I think that's also why I do what I do, is we get clues as adults who needs our help based on, the struggles that maybe we had when we were younger. And I know for a fact as an athlete myself, so much of who I thought I was based on accomplishment. Who I thought I was based on an acknowledgement from a coach or a parent, sometimes always not so positive. So my whole sense of self would plummet if I experienced or heard something that was something other than what I thought I wanted to hear. And so hopefully, making a dent in the whole area of self-worth. And if we can start from there, then we can know that really lots of things can happen, and that doesn't change. I'm still enough. And that's where, I started off with the story of Enough, the character, and that's what it means to be your own hero, is to know that you're enough and that you can go out into the world and just be wonderful, and that's okay.
Jane, I really appreciate so much of what you're talking about, and what I'm finding interesting is that as a child, and an adult actually, my sense of who I was and am did not come from sports at all. It came from the arts world, and it's the same thing. So it wasn't, did I win? It might have been, did I win a competition? Did I sing the way I wanted to sing? Did they applaud loudly? What did my teacher say? So I'm finding it interesting that the essence of what you're saying is not only for athletes, although I appreciate that is your focus, but it resonates just as much for the child in me around how I did as a singer. So
absolutely,
it's very
and I love that. I mean, and really in the circles that I run in, I mean, performance is how we do whatever we do.
Yeah.
So that can be in the arts, that can be in school, it can be in sport, it can be anywhere, and that whole validation piece. And in hero performance, just as referring to one part of the program that I really feel is so valuable is so I play with HERO as an acronym because I'm an acronym girl, and in the heart is the H, enthusiasm is the E, R is resilience, and O is ownership. So whatever you're doing, if you really come at it with heart, with enthusiasm, with the understanding of what it means to be resilient, and then also just owning it, those are the hero components. But the one that really speaks to the validation piece is understanding that our struggles, our mistakes, our disappointments, they're just learning. Mm-hmm. They're just opportunities for us to go, oh, that's where my growth is, not what we've confused it with. And what we've confused it with in the past has been, oh, I must not be enough, or I'm
not good enough, right?
I'm not good enough, and then we get discouraged. And this could be our passion. And again, in any area that we're speaking about of interest, so often we can just get sort of pulled off what has meaning for us because we confused it. And there's always learning. And even the greats, whoever the greats are in sport or music or artists, they're always striving to improve, I believe,
and making mistakes along the way.
Yeah, and that's how we, explore not only who we are, but that's how we open up more to, and the company, my company name is Essence, and it's also that essence within. That's how we discover that.
Great.
Well, of all those letters, really, I just get excited about that, because in our work through Parenting Power, sometimes we really have to work on ownership versus excuses. And know that it's not a bad thing to own what's happened, but it's a learning opportunity. So Jane, tell us a bit more about the importance of leadership and how mindset plays in the growth and development of not just athletes, but coaches and parents, board of directors, and how that all fosters efforts for collective and sustainable success.
Well, I love that question, and I love how, the growth mindset plays into the whole leadership piece. And as we're coaching young people and imparting our knowledge, the more that we can instill this belief in self and the belief in what it means to be a leader, and really the belief that anything is possible. And the truth is that anything is possible, and it's pulling all of that together as part of really what the definition is of a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset might, somebody might believe more in, I can't do this for this reason or that reason. But again, it's just coming from this intrinsic, this internal place of, I believe in me, I believe in my choices, I believe in my words, I believe in this mindset that really sets me up to go after anything that I really want to go after. And so, I guess the challenging part, at least from my perspective, is speaking into what I call speaking into the listening of these different audiences, whether it's younger people. I work with kids as young as 8 and 9, as all the way through to big kids, well into their 60s. But depending on the listening of their development, it's really about what is the mindset that you have. I speak also into empowering and disempowering and helping individuals identify what are some of those disempowering beliefs that are holding me back. I just did that last week with a whole team of swimmers, and I actually sent them off with a homework assignment. Let me know what these disempowering thoughts are. And I was so surprised at the engagement and the response that I got from that. And so it's just providing these opportunities for, again, I speak to athletes, but depending whatever sandbox they're playing in, just giving them the opportunity to have that self-discovery and that self-exploration, and how that plays into a mindset that fosters whatever it is they want.
Sounds very valuable, and just taking a moment that they might not have had before and to lead them in a new direction. So we know that in our company, we're talking with parents all the time, that parents play a crucial role in determining whether or not children have a positive experience in sport, or certainly it's one of the things that determines whether children have a positive experience in sport. Is there some information you can share about how parents' actions affect their children's sporting experience?
Absolutely, and I love this question, and I'm very passionate about this. I've actually sort of gone through every role or experienced every role from an athlete to, been there as a parent and was, been there as a coach and now as a leadership coach. And, I myself was in that role of, what does it mean to be as supportive as I can be? And I got it pretty right, but I really do know more now about true engagement that parents can really, can consider. And I guess where I jump off with that question is starting with listening to our kids, listening to what it is they're saying. And I think very often, because we're thinking faster and we can get to solutions quicker than our kids, we fall into somewhat of a default role of telling. And so we're telling, and we're not engaging, young ones and valuing their input. And so the ability to listen so deeply, and then to ask questions, and then on top of that, then ask another question, and really engage that young person and let them know that what they're thinking, what they're feeling really, really matters. There might be a place for, some input, but I think the most important piece here is the acknowledgement of that young person, and letting them feel that place where we value them. So it's a leadership piece too. And if I ever work with parents, I really coach parents very much the way I would coach leadership in an organization. I would talk to them about exactly the same things. Listening, asking empowering questions, giving feedback in ways that move that person forward, not really keeping them stuck. So all of the same principles apply.
Well, that's awesome. And I love that you say listening, because often, as Wayne McNeil would tell us from Respect in Sport, parents just get in the car and start telling them what they could have, should have, or need to do. So if you just listen, if you just listen, sometimes there's nothing, and that's okay, right? You don't need to fix them, so to speak, because they're whole. Exactly.
And, I believe that we mean well, as parents.
Of course,
we
yeah.
do, and, if we could help with perspective, or, hey, this is what I saw, or, those things do have value, but again, it's making it more of a child-centered conversation. I love that analogy of, that car ride home. And for those that have been athletes, everybody knows what it's like when you get in the car. And, it's a curiosity. I mean, parents just want to know, how did it go? What, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that there's timing for that. I think part of listening too is, do you get the sense that your young one had a good practice or maybe a not so good practice? So timing is really important. And sometimes just, not even talking about sport or whatever class they just maybe came out of, and just engaging in a different way. Because so often the answer is, good, it was good,
Yeah.
good. And so
it
doesn't really have a lot of legs, that conversation, and we know that, but we keep going back to it. And it's like, well, what else could we talk about? And if we do want to talk about, how the day went, is that really the time? And again, I do believe it's all meant as support, but we, everybody, we have to know our kids and really be a bit more strategic with those opportunities, because once communication starts to close down, then it just becomes that sort of flatlined conversation, and we want to keep engagement high, and we want to have relationships that are flourishing at that stage, not, closing down.
That is so valuable. Silence is not necessarily a closed conversation. So if the child is just exhausted and burnt out from their day and just needs to sit in silence beside you, that's not necessarily a bad thing, as opposed to, as you say, kind of digging and digging and digging for information, and then having that wall come up where you're not getting in. There's just
absolutely. And and a fun thing would be, let's put the shoe on the other foot. Let's pretend, the kid's at the steering wheel, and you've just had a long day, and you're in the back seat. How excited are you to? You just want to sit and just decompress a bit.
That's right. And different people. Some kids love to talk about it, and some kids don't.
Good point.
So as you said, it's really about knowing your kid. Jane, thank you. Speaking with you today has been so interesting, and just has such impact even beyond the sports area. Not that that's not important, but it's just really interesting to me how it's it's really can be taken in so many different areas. If listeners want to find out more information from you or more about you, where's the best place for them to follow you?
The best place to follow me is at The Essence Group. You'll find my website, theessencegroup.com. Also, feel free to give me a call at 403-827-2684. I'm always open to warm voices, so that's just as wonderful.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Jane, it was awesome.
Thank you.